Gladly.
All right, guys. With only 26 minutes of delay, welcome to episode 3 of the Dreamiverse Deep Dive. Kamian, if you would be so nice to just start the share screen for me. We forgot that in all the excitement.
I can gladly do that. Just give me a second.
Guys, thanks so much for holding out. We did come through in the end, and we have a great show for you tonight, I hope. And as you can see via the crazy coloring of our starting screen and via that little blurb spazzing out to the right there, we actually have a guest tonight. So this is really cool for us, a premiere for us, which is probably why it didn't work at all at first. But now we've managed to get it to work, and we are very, very happy to welcome Thyon to our little bathysphere here. Hi, Thyon. So good to have you here.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Hello.
Coming to us, diving down with us straight from the other side of the world. So, what is this about? This is still the Dreamiverse Deep Dive. We are still committed to uncovering, exploring the Dreamiverse's lost and underappreciated gems. And in another really exciting premiere for today, we will also be looking at an upcoming game, so something that is yet to be released. Now, what does this mean? Did it only take us 3 episodes to completely crash and burn our original plan? No, of course not. But we think it's very much on brand for our program and for our stream to showcase amazing stuff and to help drum up some excitement for creation. So that's what we're going to do. Also, there is an angle of this game being an underappreciated gem, but we'll be getting to that in a second. Welcome to everyone in chat, by the way. Thanks for being here. As always, you are welcome to pose your questions, to talk to us, to write down suggestions. What are we going to do? We are going to look at a very special project by Thyon, which is called Gemini Rising. And before we do that, Thyon, would you want to let us know some things about yourself?
I am a UX designer by day and a hobby gamer by night. I just always love video games. I'm probably not the person who's and I'm not super deep dive into all the kind of games. I have a very sort of limited selection of stuff that I quite like, and that inspires me obviously to want to create games that are similar to the things that I like, and that's how I ended up in Dreams. I've always wanted to make games. I've made a few games when I was very young, and it didn't really go anywhere. And then now I've got the opportunity to just play around and be creative with Dreams. And it's my mind is not quite the same as everybody because I have autism spectrum disorder, so my brain doesn't work the same way. So Dreams is like the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because it just works completely correctly with my brain. I love it. I couldn't even look at Unreal and Unity. I've tried loading them, Blender as well, and it's just my mind just starts like collapsing. I can't deal with it.
But it's so great to hear that you found this tool that really fits basically the way your brain works, as you said. And I think the results really speak for themselves. So as we'll see today, when we dive in into your creation, I think it's really amazing.
Well, thank you very much.
So, and maybe that's the point where we can really dive in, right?
Right, let's dive in.
So as you see, I think we'll have a lot of fun today because it's so nice hanging out with the two of you. We already did a small test yesterday, and I think it already showed that this will be a really, really great stream.
Yeah, one thing before we dive in, we do, of course, have our collection as every week. So first thing, please do check out those things from the last 2 episodes, the works of Vector Slinger and the excellent island adventures, different islands adventures we checked out in episode 2. For today, since we'll be talking about an upcoming game that has yet to be fully released, we obviously cannot share that with you. What we can share, however, is a fantastic demo for Gemini Rising that was already released in time for Dreamscom last year, if I remember correctly. And in fact, this will also be our starting point for today, because this was also our first contact with this amazing project. So we thought this might be a really fun jumping off point. So this is what you could see if you had started this demo close to Dreamscom 2022, close to when it came out.
So, and you said earlier that this also fits our main subject of underappreciated gems of the Dreamiverse. And I think it becomes obvious once we start and we see that this great creation, as we'll see when we play it, ended up only with a few over 200 thumbs up here. And I think it deserves so much more. And basically, the first time I played this, I think, Schreppy, you introduced me to it, and you gave me basically the hint, you need to try this. It's such a nice game, and it's so promising. I was really blown away by the scope, by the kind of world building, and I thought this is a really nice way of basically doing the platforming formula in Dreams. And then, as we see later, my mind got completely blown by what else is in store for the full game. So maybe this just as a quick teaser. And I think with that, if you guys are fine with it, we just give this demo a try.
All right, go right in.
So as we already see in the logo screen, basically, you have an eye for design. That's so nice. I think it belongs to the top screens in that regard that I've seen in Dreams. It's so professionally done.
I mean, yeah, what always gets me about these logo screens is that if you use Dreams yourself, you actually start thinking that this is all running in the same engine, right? This is not this, like there's this extra UX design suite, but it's all running in the same system we also use to build our games. So this is already very impressive.
Very cold.
This frozen environment is not lifeless.
And as I said, I mean, we basically start this demo off, and we have already this really nicely done environment here, not only in regard to the color schemes used, but also in regard to the depth that you have, right? So when I first played this, I was really intrigued by the way the level design is done here. And that's only the starting point of it, right?
Yes, but still, I mean, with a demo, you usually think about, is this a good slice? Is this a good vertical slice of the game? And in this case, I would argue it really is, because it introduces you to the main location for the upcoming game, this ice planet. And you start out with a really stunning vista. Like, it's really with this red sun off in the distance and the cold colors. I immediately fell in love with the visual design.
So one thing that we already see is, this is so great, I think, that you have so many ways to explore this part of the level. So there are at least, I think, 3 or 4 ways to go, and each way basically leads to something cool to discover. And
in this particular
That's so
case,
nicely done.
we already meet our favorite NPCs of the entire game. Like Kamian and I really have it in for those Elidolfs. And if you end up playing the demo yourself, you will understand why that is, because they are such an recurring and yet frustrating obstacle. So let's just say we'll be meeting those again closer to the end of this stream.
What makes these field dolphins so frustrating is they actually aren't really hard. They just test your patience. And you really need to stand still and wait for them to go away, and then you are safe to go. But being the impatient player that I am, I died quite a lot of times when I first played this.
So, Thyon, I mean, I think what we're currently seeing in the demo is already a pretty good look at the core gameplay loop that also appears in the full game. Maybe you can tell us what your original idea was for the game, or what you wanted to achieve with this game.
Well, the original idea for the game was going to end just around the corner. This was going to be the game. And as you can now clearly see, I had a little bit of scope creep. Just a little bit. So instead of it being one level, it's now 10 complete levels. So I had some of the concepts of the fact that there was going to be a section before this level where you would not have your arm, and you would have a little bit of an area to explore. I had that already done in my head. Then Ice Planet, and then what you will be doing on the Ice Planet. But I hadn't worked out all the details of all the levels. I had a vague idea. And then also the armor initially was just going to have one upgrade. And then the level was going to end. And then I made it 2 upgrades for future games. And then basically I just decided, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do all the upgrades in this one game, but I'm just going to make more levels to allow you to do the upgrades as you go along. So people are very frustrated by the limited abilities in your demo, but just remember that you will get upgrades and you will be vastly superior in your abilities that you will.
And you know what, we'll be seeing that later, but you already hinted at it, with these upgrades existing. Like there's an almost Metroid Prime-like finesse to the amount of stuff you can upgrade your suit with, and the amount of extra functions. So in fact, I mean, I remember yesterday we talked about your influences for this project. I was actually surprised to hear that the Metroid series, especially the Metroid Prime series, wasn't among the main inspirations, because when I first played this demo, after 5 minutes or so, this felt so very Metroid Prime to me in a way. I mean, okay, it's third person, but the whole way the whole way you are exploring this strange and alien landscape, this gives you such Metroid vibes, which is, I think, one of the main things that drew me to the game.
And I think when you say that there is so much more in regard to mechanics, I think that's definitely true. But at the same time, the mechanics at display here are already a really, really high standard for everything that's done in Dreams, I think. In regard to the different combat moves, in regard to the shield that you can use, and that is even more versatile in the full game, right? And it's such a nice way to get started, and then to really see how you can integrate different gameplay styles, different gameplay mechanics into such a world here. And one thing that I've just touched upon a little bit is, and this really got me when I played it for the first time, is these little collectibles that are basically dispersed all over the world here. And really finding all of them, if you can bring up the menu here, I think in the demo level it's 46, right? Yeah, so really finding all of them is such a fun thing to do in itself. So one thing is to really beat the level and explore it, and the other thing is to really look for all these little collectibles that are hidden in really interesting spots partly, and really make it really fun to basically explore every nook and cranny of the level. So let's see if I can basically get this enemy. Yeah.
And fair warning if you're going to play this yourself, especially when it comes to finding all of the collectibles. There are quite some old school sensibilities at play here. So some of these are really, really deviously hidden. Like I can remember several moments where I just where I just went, oh no, you didn't, because the hiding places were so
high up here. It's a gorgeous.
But at the same time, you feel really like a king when you find them, and that's so great.
I mean, the entire game, and I think this is not giving too much away. The entire game, as far as I've played it at least, is such a case of just one more try. Like it's tough. You really have to be up to speed in the way you play it. But I think it's a testament to its design that it really draws you in, and you really want to get it right and just give it one more try.
Yeah, and as we said, we have just given a really, really quick sneak peek of the demo. There is much more stuff you can do in there. We just didn't want to do it too long because we really want to dive into the fully developed game. What we can show off here is basically that this is just the starting point. So the demo level basically is one of, I think, in total 9 levels in the final game, and each level has, I think, 10 even with the boss battle, right?
Yes, the boss battle is the 10th level, yes.
And each level has its own identity and its own setting, and I really like that a lot too.
And just
so this one, I haven't gone back to the demo to update it yet, so these cards are obviously wrong because there's some additional levels added now. Scope creep.
And you know what? Like this was what you just saw was a small taste of the demo as it was released in time for Dreamscom, and that was already really cool. And we would all invite you to check it out after the stream if you haven't already, because it's really cool. What's really awesome is that I think both Kamian and me ultimately got to play different builds and different versions of the full game. And we'll be checking out that now. And the crazy thing is how the sheer scope of what happened next after checking out the demo. And this is something we'll be showing you by diving into the full game now.
And one final thing to maybe mention about the demo now is that people who've played the demo, now that you play the full game and you reach this level of the demo, it's going to be different. There are new enemies. The collectibles are shifted and in different places, and there are new collectibles and new things you must do, which are different from just the demo. So the level has been sort of supered up a bit, so that your replay value, there's a reason for you to replay as well, the demo level, obviously.
Yeah. So definitely check out the demo now, play it, and try to basically find all the icosabits. Try to beat Dennis 9.5 to his amazing finishing time. I'm only in second place, I see. And then you will have a great time replaying the level once the full game is out in, I think, a few weeks' time, maybe, right?
It's a few days.
A few days even
even better then. So we are right in time with this. But yeah, just remember, like this was the demo, and just to imagine you've just played this, and what would you expect the game to feel like? Of course, more of the same. Maybe a short scene in the beginning, maybe a couple of text boxes to set the scene. Well, that's not what you're getting, and we'll be showing you.
Shiaza's story begins when she was still a teensy little thing. Very reckless, quite impulsive, and definitely headstrong. So, we didn't really get along. But she wanted to explore, so I helped her get to see what's out there, in space. It's a good thing that I did. Back then, she didn't even know about her sister. We all thought she was an orphan. I tried to look out for her, help her, but I had a business to run, so she wasn't really my prime concern. One day, in Cycle 752, I asked her to get ready to go to Vetratex, a frozen wasteland. That's when she first felt the Gemini Rising. Shiata, when you're done eating, come see me in the emporium.
I wonder what Liz wants.
So as you already see here, I think this is such a nice way of setting the scene and really building the world around the game and giving the player an insight into what actually the world is all about and the setting that we are dealing with here. And it's so amazing. Yeah, the sound design is great, is a comment in chat. That's true. The visual design is really awesome. I mean, the attention to detail, all these little scenes you added here, basically having this cafeteria vibe of people basically sitting here getting a drink or eating something, and you can basically you find in every little corner. That's what I find so amazing about this intro level here. You find something that's done with such great eye for detail and so much passion for the game. I can't even begin to describe how amazing I think this is. And this is just the first room here, right? And one thing we notice is that the character looks quite different from when we first met her. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that. So what was your inspiration for the character, Thyon?
It's actually, she's kind of like a plant-based alien. So she's actually kind of like a plant. She's not actually an animal. So she's kind of like a photosynthetic organism. So also the suit isn't just protecting her
how's it
from the
going?
cold, it's also radiating her body with sunlight on the inside. That's why her eye things are yellow, because it's casting like a yellow sunlight on her. So, and then she's got these little things on her head which are kind of like planty outgrowths or whatever, I don't know.
Definitely.
I mean,
I just kind of started fiddling with the design and I quite liked it. I had a general idea in my head. And then,
So, and what is so great, I think, here is we get the story behind the suit to a certain extent, right? So, and we basically have to work for that, and that's what I love so much. So, for example, we could go to this terminal here and check the stuff we can do. So we see that there are some chores we can do, which basically is the optional side quests you can do there, right? And then there are some main things to do, which basically will be the stuff we need to do to actually get ready for our mission. But you do such a great job, I think, in introducing this stuff, but also giving this overview here. I think it's so nicely integrated in the world, and it really is so great to just explore this station here.
And I mean, C Entertain in chat said character progression. Boy, howdy, you have no idea. There's so much character progression later on with the game. So many upgrades to unlock.
So if you wanted to show that, you could just go upstairs after the dialogue here to the armor terminal, and all the upgrades will be shown and explained in there, but they're locked.
Liz, I just got back from
We'll definitely do that.
I think what really blew me away with this is like the demo was this look at a really cool exploration-based action adventure type of game. And I expected the rest of the game to really be just more of that, and that the fact that you've added this entire playable introduction sequence that makes it into this almost Ratchet and Clank-esque world with lots of characters, with lots of different aliens, with this whole Emporium space station to explore, and it almost feels like a with the different stuff you get to do, it almost feels like a kind of a graphic adventure to a certain extent. That blew me away so much, because the polish here is really off the charts. Like this really feels like something you would play as a fully realized game, and that I thought that was so cool to have this whole different angle to the world and to get to know the background of the character, not via some text or a couple of static scenes, but by being able to play what comes before your first actual mission.
And if you listen to the dialogue before, I think that's also something that's so great about this game, that it's not only about the visual representation and about the world building here in regard to what you see and the audio design. The dialogues are so nicely done, and this kind of snappy humor you have in there, and the voice acting, it all comes together so nicely. And then this kind of emporium here, where all the artifacts are gathered, is such a nice glimpse into what might come, right? So it's several layers of foreshadowing. Like, we see stuff here that will later on be also part of the game. For example, this guy here, right? So without basically spoiling too much, it's so nice to basically have this collection of items that then later on gain meaning as you progress through the game.
And at the same time, sorry, Thyon, just one sentence. At the same time, I love it. I love the fact that you also see so many things that won't ever be part of the rest of the game, that just acts at texture, that just hint at the fact that there's a bigger world there, and even a bigger world than what you actually get to explore within the game.
What I love here is, this is just a little side quest, right? And I just read the information here, and it said I can interact with it by tapping the glass. And
before the ball sinks down.
Yeah, and we try to feed it, because that was one of our chores, right? So let's see if we can do this.
Now, go.
Yeah, I try.
You have to tap the screen before it goes down. There we go. You see it goes down. It's like melt.
We can make this happen. So, but the food also needs to be here. So there it is. So let's do it.
There we go. Now. There we go.
Yay!
So nice. What I really love about this is this really encourages exploration, as do so many parts of the game. So this is something that's completely optional, and this boggles my mind, right? So you could play the entire game without even hitting that button, and you would miss this little side thing here. And at the same time, it's done with so much heart and interesting, an interesting way. It's really, really cool.
I will say this though, if you go on playing and reach the part of the game where those jellyfish creatures actually appear, I think I would never want to go back and feed that one again.
So maybe let's just check our objectives, because this, I think, is such a nice way of guiding the player. So we fed Floaty, we talked to Les.
I wanted to interrupt you here, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to interrupt you. Just a note is that in the previous section for the artifacts, a few of the artifacts are actually taken out of my other game.
Cool.
Oh, is that right? That's really cool, though.
So
when we go back later, I think there's one side quest that will bring us back there. You definitely need to point us to some of the connections of the previous games you did. So we were told to go down to the server room.
Oh,
a new enemy.
Yes. This was all the Thyon, this was all the stuff you patched in after the recent update, right?
Yeah.
When the thermo was, when you had some thermo left.
Yes, because I added a new trophy for every level, is that you have to kill all the enemies, and this level didn't have any enemies. So I had to create two kinds of enemies for this level, the vines, and there's some insect-like creature on the lower level.
And C Entertain says in chat, cross-game connectivity is always great, and I couldn't agree more. I live for stuff like that.
So, and again, we could go looking for all these little collectibles too. And And as I've shown here, it's also the way you designed this interface here and integrated it into the world, and you really have to basically go here and manually activate stuff and so on, which really, I think, adds to the experience of you really getting ready for your journey and really having to do the chores here and actually kind of even make it angry with the basically leader of the Emporium here, that you have to do all this stuff just like her, right? Why can't this stuff be done by others? Why has it always to be me?
Galaxy map?
And who is Zozo?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe let's go up, because here is what you hinted at earlier, where we'll find more information about the armor, right? So this is a place where we can go through some of the different things that you can do and some of the skills, but we can also use this to install the upgrades that we were told about, right?
Yes.
So let's get the fast jump. Let's get everything what's in there. I want to have every single skill. The shield, yes please. Blaster, of course. And again, I think this is such a nice touch. You just give the player the opportunity to earn this to a certain extent, but also feel like I have done this myself. I've upgraded this suit, and now I can hopefully sometimes use these skills later on in the game. And such a nice touch.
I mean, it still blows me away the way how all these interfaces and all these terminals are fully integrated within the world, right? Because if there's one thing Dreams taught me, then it was that user interfaces in games aren't something you just build by choosing it from a pull-down menu. Like all of it has to be really built from scratch more often than not.
Created, yeah.
And to see it integrated in a way that feels completely natural within the world. Like none of this feels kinda okay for a Dreams game, but it feels like something you would actually see in that world and in that setting. So that I really, at first I didn't even realize that there were all these terminals to interact with, that you could basically interact with each of these terminals and do something different with them. But then again, I remember...
This galaxy map, this galaxy map is also important because it has got a lot of locations, and if you look at the locations, I actually have all of those locations planned out. Those were all going to be individual games, and Vetridge Eggs is just one of the games, one of the planets. I don't think I'm going to make it. It's taking too long.
But having this kind of background in here, again, really adds to the world. You feel that this is a game that is the product of so much thought and so much planning and so much in the background, which really gives life to the entire world. I can only commend you on that.
And C Entertain is asking in chat, did you do the skill management by merging variables, or have every skill as its own variable?
So the abilities, I store all of them in one variable, and I split the variable into parts. So I created special variables that, like a binary variable stores 23 variables in one variable, and they're all just 1 or 0, right? So I used a similar principle for the armor, but the armor goes from 0, nothing configured, to 1, 2, and 3. So there's like 4 steps. So there's like a bit of a variable compression happening, but it's like 4 steps because I need you to upgrade.
And now, for those of you who like me don't know the first thing about logic, I happily remember a moment when I saw Thyon's logic that was just for I think lining up the different voice lines, right? And I was blown away by the fact that logic alone is probably more complex than anything I have in my entire game. So a crazy amount of stuff going on behind the scenes here.
Yeah.
So to get
so now give us the scope on your artifacts here.
Can I just say really quickly that spider enemy is awful. It's not an enemy. That spider character walking through the Emporium.
But just don't walk there. Why do you keep going for
This one, you mean this spider
Oh
thing
God,
here?
isn't this an awful creature? Just
actually
look at the
worse.
Come
animation.
on,
This is
don't
this is
judge
hideous.
by the outside. It's certainly a really nice creature.
Wait,
But I mean, I'm not even an arachnophobe. But oh my God, just look at it.
look
All
at
right.
that picture where it looks at its own egg. It looks like it's looking at its own egg being in a glass.
Oh
So-
God, just imagine the kind of stain that thing would make if you were to.
Okay, maybe let's not go there. Maybe let's concentrate on the nice stuff here. And Thyon, you said earlier that there are some artifacts here that point to
the
your
flute?
earlier games. Is there something you would like to highlight or talk about?
There's a few references. There's the big flute, not the Egyptian one, the sort of more wooden-looking one. That I can't tell because obviously the screen's a bit delayed. But the wooden one is from Waterfall Moon. It's not a direct reference because it's part of a game element I created for a better version of one of the levels, which I never finished. So, but it says Waterfall Moon, which is
I found
yeah,
it.
there.
to one of Possession 2 games.
And by the way, hi, Vector Slinger in chat. Hi, great you could make it.
And then also the crystal in the corner that keeps changing color as you turn the camera. That's from Possession 3. That's the crystals you collect in Possession 3. It's actually the same crystal.
Actually, Thyon, I meant to say this earlier. The Possession games were actually the first I saw of your work in Dreams, I think.
Yes, that was basically my first game.
I still remember playing the first one and thinking this is kind of neat. But I think I might have bounced off it because there wasn't a whole lot of personality going on with these player characters, and I mean obviously all of this has been increased 100-fold with Gemini Rising. Like there's loads of character to be had there.
So just quickly wanted to point out, checking our stuff we have to do. We did the chores, all of them. We even placed the artifact just now. We did the armor.
When did you open the fridge?
I didn't do it so far, but we can do it later.
Right.
What is missing is the mission. So we need to charge the power nodes, refuel the ship, maintenance panels, and configure navigation. So maybe we do this next, right after we check the fridge. So this one.
So if the fridge doesn't open, you haven't triggered the dialogue yet. So sure
Yeah, I just
did.
did.
Had to walk down the corridor.
Oh, such a nice touch.
Yeah, this is nice. I really wanted to see this because I was so happy to be able to talk Thyon into adding that little misty cloud of cold emerging from that fridge.
The maintenance panels need an access key card. Try looking in Zozo's office.
Oh, so now first we have to get to Zozo's office. And I know that I searched for this quite a long time. And then I found basically the only cubicle here. And I thought this might be her office.
Cubicle. Yeah, hello.
And there we find
With a big yellow door.
Yeah, there we find the key card. So...
I even put a light above it.
Yeah, I mean, once you find it, you're really like, how could I overlook this? But I've been running around the entire station looking for the office of Zozo, and I was like, what the hell? I cannot find it. And then I came in here and I thought, of course it is the cubicle. And again, it's so rewarding when you find it and you really see, you pointed me towards it. I was just not clever enough to see it in the first place, right?
It's near the door. It's got a light on top of it. It's got a yellow door. How much? What more? And the checkpoint's right next to it. What more do you want?
So that being said, we integrated the card there, and this allows us to actually use the control system here and open these panels, for example. So there's a lot of stuff we need to do here, but let's start with that.
See, Entertain, is it Into the Light, your game, or is it a different one? because I love that Into the Light game. Just
Wait,
talking
Into the
about
Light,
this game
that
now.
does sound kind of familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, because, excuse me, but I'm using your, I mean, people are using assets from people on the Dreamiverse, right? So, yeah. And guess where I use my concrete assets from?
Oh, hey, see, Entertain, I've already put it in my play later, so I'll definitely be checking it out.
So some of the new things I added after the thermal update was there's a hidden orb in every level. You have to kill all the enemies in every level. And then I've also changed it so when you collect all the Arcosa bits and the enemies, it now calculates a score. So it's not just the time of the level that you take to finish it, but how many Arcosa bits you've collected, plus if you've killed all the enemies, and then it tallies up a score, and then based on that you get the score for the level. So the people who want to replay it for the fastest or the highest score can do that.
Yeah, that's great. And I won't spoil where this orb is. I think I found it when I played it in preparation for today, but I leave that to the players to explore on their own.
Yes, don't show orbs if you can avoid it.
So I got all 3 power nodes now, and what is left are the tanks. So we need
I actually added some paint light over there for those things, so that when it's red before, then there's some paint casting a red casting light, and then you pull it goes green. So it's all integrated.
Great.
That's pretty cool.
So now we're looking for these valves. We need to close them. The first of 3.
And now you'll see these concrete blocks on the side, on the wall, are all Entertained concrete blocks. Because he makes great concrete blocks.
Yeah, definitely, and you do a great job integrating them into your game without actually people maybe noticing that they weren't done by yourself, but basically imported from someone else. Alright, so I think one valve is still missing. And this is something, or some place where I didn't check so far.
I see that.
And get up there. Oh, again.
Oh, wait, what's that?
Yeah, I got the trophy.
Oh, awesome.
So that was all the enemies in the level.
Exactly, yes.
So let's get up here.
And that feels very rewarding as well. So.
Definitely.
Actually, Thyon, I remember during one of the previous episodes, I think in the previous episode, somebody asked about the feasibility of adding unlockable trophies inside Dreams games, and we quickly, I think you showed up in chat and said, well, it's possible. Well, here you go, guys. It's obviously possible to add that kind of stuff, although you have to create it all from scratch, right? There's no inbuilt option for just enabling trophies in Dreams.
Yeah, so I actually had a good suggestion, is that you could use the imp notification. When you have an imp quest complete, on the corner it appears like a little like a rectangle with circles with some animation, little thing happening. You could have actually had a built-in system like that, and you can just trigger the trophy with a little bit of customization, maybe like a trophy gadget, maybe.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then everybody can use it, and you can track trophies.
I mean, it's obviously possible that they already have just such a gadget, and it's just dev only for now, right? We know they do have some kind of picture importer. We know they do have some kind of QR importer, so it stands to reason that they would have something like that for their own creations.
So I think I'm basically ready to leave. I got all the chores and quests done here, so we could basically board the ship now and go to the next planet. Is there anything else you would like to point out regarding this introductory level, Thyon? Anything you want to highlight or that we have been missing, maybe?
I don't think you've missed anything, really. I mean, we covered
apart from, I think, how many 16 of the aqua bits, but that's to be done on another day.
There's one. You missed one there. Did you get the one behind the aqua terminal downstairs?
I missed so many.
There's one. There's one right there.
And that's basically how most of them are placed, right? So you have to look behind every little thing that is maybe has some kind of place behind it, and but that's really nice. I love this. I mean, I think when we first played this, we were basically screen sharing, and you showed this to me, and I was so into the game that I really wanted to find every single one, and I think I played it for like. Close to an hour because I really wanted to find every single one of them, and it's so addictive.
Did you though? Because I remember playing it for ages too and wanting to find everything. And then
I did with a little help of my friend Thyon.
Oh, all right. because I remember my teeth gnashing. I finally jumped into the ship because I just wanted to get on with the game, and I think I had still one more bit or something like that left. So
they're usually in corners or behind stuff, and you can't always jump sometimes onto them. You've got to use another container to jump and stuff like that. So yeah, some of them are. I always try to split them a bit. It's like some of them are short range, easy to get to. Some of them are mid range and harder to get to, and some of them are just hidden and you can't see them, so you don't know where they are.
And Thyon, this is totally not your fault, but those different little options on the terminal look far too similar to the stuff we just had to navigate to make the audio settings for the stream work.
So now, you'll see the score panel. I don't know if it's popped up on stream already. So and then that's got the bonus if you collected all the aquabits, and you'll get a bonus if you hit all the enemies.
I even bettered my current score. So we did something right. And now we are in the color customization screen for the suit, which I think also is such a nice touch.
I thought it was nice. I thought it was a nice touch so that when you now leave, you don't realize this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I've got to change the color of my suit, and whatever color you choose now will be in the cutscenes as well as playing the game now.
Oh, great! So it's a persistent variable that you use.
That is so cool, because there are even some AAA games that don't have that, where you have all these crazy customized appearances, and then they don't carry over in the cutscenes.
Because obviously cutscenes are live. So.
Good job, sir. Good job.
Really nice.
All right. So was this there before, this cutscene? I think it may not.
No, where you collect the suit, the armor. No, this is new.
That's a great
touch.
Like with the computer terminal, because I wanted to create the nice link so that you're actually, getting into the armor.
System?
Yeah,
it's in the middle of
completely
nowhere.
Understandable.
Of course it is. Why
The
did
demo only
they
has the
send me
second
here?
part, which is where you can walk in.
And what is this artifact?
So, and we have been talking about how basically great the variety in this game is, and the diversity of the settings and the gameplay mechanics. And we now see that we come to the demo level we saw before, as you said, reworked and with a lot of added stuff and things to do. But as we have already played this, maybe we leave here and look at another level that demonstrates this variety that I was talking about. And this is a level that is near towards the end of the game, so it's the 9th level. So it's basically the level before the final boss fight, right? So we don't want to spoil too much in regard to what you have to do there, but we want to show off some of the things that get added to your arsenal in regards to the skills you can use and so on. And also see a completely different setting, right?
Yeah, definitely. So that's really cool about this level. Like, you're still on the same ice planet, but this level also does a really nice way of showing off how much variety Thyon gets out of this planet. So it's not just all ice.
Yeah, and we can have a quick look at the
deep dive inside.
yeah. So we see that at this point we got various upgrades to our armor and to different things we can do here. And it already shows, I think, in regard to the gameplay, we have this nice little hover mechanic where we can reach places that are a little more far to reach. And there's also this kind of dash, which is also a nice touch, I think. It has many uses in gameplay, one of which is for platforming, but there is also another use that I can think of right now. I won't spoil it, but it's really nice that you really integrate these skills in different ways and make the player use them in different capacities in the world. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, the dash is very useful for enemy avoidance as well as platform.
Yeah.
Boing, 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 and whoosh.
So let's see how far I can get without dying. Oh, not too far. But I got a nice trophy.
You got the trophy again.
Yeah. What do you mean again? This is the first time I died here.
But it's not the first time you fell into the lava. And you know, I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again today. Getting a trophy for actually falling into the lava felt like taking the piss yesterday, and it still does feel like taking the piss today. So there you have it.
So initially I was hesitant to put this bouncy sort of stuff in because I found it extremely difficult, and then I realized that if I place them in the right way, and also if you've got the right abilities, and if you're just a little bit more careful, it actually becomes really easy and really fun.
So close.
I'm surprised, Thyon, by you saying that something was actually difficult. So far you've only ever been saying, no, this is simple, you just need to do it like this and that, and yeah.
Yeah, even I found it a little bit difficult, but it's actually quite a fun, and they're not very long, so I make the checkpoints also quite short, so that once you've reached a certain point, it's not like a Assassin's Creed sort of collectible time thing, which is nasty.
Of course, there's
Vector Slinger says, I hate bouncing mushroom platforms. Come to think of it, God's Lie doesn't have any bouncing mushrooms, right? I wonder why that is.
Boing, boing, boing.
No, don't die. Don't die. I mean, it's great to see this because me failing here also is, I think, part of the game in a very good way, because it is a very challenging game, but at the same time, when you're playing it, you really want to master it. You really want to get to the next checkpoint. And that's, I think, the biggest compliment you can give to games that deliberately try to challenge you. That the challenge feels fair, and then you feel like, okay, I failed, but it was due to my incompetence, due to my lack of patience, whatever. It's not about the game, it's about me, and I have to improve to get to the next stage, right?
As I said earlier, there's very much this screw it, just one more try dynamic going on here. Like, you really want to just give it one more try.
And I also designed this area so that, like, while you're bouncing on the mushroom, 3 mushrooms further, you kind of look back and see you've got an
and Vector Slinger is now asking whether he should be adding bouncy mushrooms to God's Lie. Well, Vector Slinger, I will say this. a bouncy mushroom or two in the right place would mean I could maybe shave off another 1 or 2 seconds of my Broken Temple run. So there's that to consider.
Come on.
You can also switch weapons here and switch the shield so that you can show people you have to use the left and right buttons to do that. That's the shield.
Just let me kill one of them. I want to have the gratification of at least killing one and cheating it, like, it should be possible, right?
Use the spinner. Throw the spinner as well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Kenyon, there is indeed something weirdly karma-like about you now being forced to play a game where you have to press 15 buttons at once, because that's completely unlike what happens in Rid, right?
No, we don't do that in Rid. Rid is a really, really simple game that basically has just one button.
Fun. Straightforward jaunt through a peaceful atmosphere.
There we go.
Great. So
you can
I think
also use slam on them while you've got the shield up. And there we go.
Yeah. So I think we shouldn't take it much further than here. So people who play the game actually have more of this cave to explore. But I think what we did is we gave a nice insight into some of the advanced mechanics, like the different kinds of shields you can use, the different kinds of projectiles you can use, the different platforming mechanics that are added. And I think this really adds to the complexity of the gameplay in a really nice and diverse way. And you are so creative of really building challenges around this that it also is a lot of fun to explore.
Really like these.
So with that, maybe we could have a look at even another different scene, another different level that again does something completely different, and you are wondering, how can all of this be in one game? It's so diverse, and it must have been so much work to come up with all these different mechanics.
So to give you guys a bit of context, if you're actually playing through the game, you go through several ice-themed levels, working towards a kind of a research station, or several research stations, in fact. And this is one of them. Like, this is the point where you actually enter one of those research stations and try to find your way around in it. And as you see, there's a very different look and feel to the whole installation, but as you will be seeing in a second, there's also a very interesting mechanical twist to it.
Finally see entertained catching on about the concrete everywhere. These concrete panels.
Right, this is the brutalism level, everybody.
Very brutalism. Actually, this is a little bit reminding of Possession, if you think about it, because it's got those little tunnels in Possession as well.
Now I control the bird.
Yeah, this is so neat because you now control this robot, and the doors that won't open for Shia will open for him. At the same time, you have to you see this thread,
how do we get
blue thread binding him to his original terminal, so you only have very limited reach beyond that.
Really
so this then becomes a pretty clever puzzle-based game where you have to use the robot to unlock the way forward, while also staying within the limits of the terminal that robot originated from.
Well, obviously not leave your character behind.
Yeah, I just realized, and then
this is a little bit like Possession, because you're switching the possession between the two characters, which is kind of like a little bit of the possession mechanic.
Thyon, remembering the fact that you have all these achievements and seeing how this level is so much about hacking stuff, do you have a look at you hacker trophy?
Say again?
Look at you hacker. Am I the only one who's played System Shock here?
It's also like you get those hacker terminals in what's the game now? It's the one where you mostly stealth, but it's also sci-fi, and it's set in this kind of like really glossy, pristine world. I can't remember the name now. I've got the visuals. I remember now.
Oh, is it the one with the where you have all these doppelgangers on this weird palace-like spaceship? No, obviously not.
It's a famous game series. Yeah, so it can't collect the collectibles.
Green sludge? What do I do now?
I'll try to remember now. And there was like a Go version of the game as well. For phone.
Oh, right, Deus Ex, maybe?
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, right.
Yeah, whatever that game title. It's also got that like terminals hacking, you've got to hack the camera, and then like you've got to hack the computers and that stuff, and then that activates this thing. It's got a little bit of Watch Dogs feel to it as well with the hacking mechanic and the drone.
And there's another robot.
And I think that's where we end this level too. But what became clear, I think, again, is so many different gameplay styles, so many different skills to use and ways to interact with the world. It's really mind-blowing how you did this. I mean, in the time too, right? So you started playing, creating this game when exactly? So there was this demo that was released for last Dreamscom. How long has it been in development in its entirety?
So, technically, it's been in development since I got Dreams.
Okay. Then it's quite a long time.
so literally, like, one of the first things I did after I made, like, one of those ImQuest things was I created the snow piece for
If it's going to kill me, at least it's free.
and then I put one of those old puppets on it, and then it didn't work for me. And also, I had this vision, and I couldn't fix it because I didn't have the ability yet. So I scrapped working on it, and I started working on Possession, and the other Possession series, and Lava Runner, and a few other games. And that honed my skills and got my level up. So then I could go back to Gemini Rising half the space that I started. Like I had a crappy little piece of the Emporium, and I had a crappy little piece of the, and a crappy little piece of that, and I started fleshing it out a bit more. And that's where I got to the first level. And once I got the first level done, then it just went from there. So full time, I think I've been working on it for about 18 months now, full time. Minus some time for Doomsday, but 18 months full time, just this.
But I mean, it really shows in the complexity of the gameplay mechanisms, in the way the world is set up. Like it's really, it really does feel like a fully realized vision and a fully realized world, and that obviously is what we are always very much looking for the series, right? Like creation where you really get the sense that the creator had a vision and really followed through with it.
Well, I hope so. I hope it comes through like that.
Even if that vision should turn out to be killed 500 times by some weird eel dolphin hybrids.
Especially what I find really difficult right now is to readapt to the reduced moveset. So playing this lava cave earlier and having this kind of glide mechanic and not having it here is really something that takes some time getting used to. And that's, of course, the only reason why I died quite a few times when I started playing this. But what I wanted to show here, which I really like a lot, is, again, the world building and the way you build the level. You have this kind of vintage point that you have been looking at all the time, this kind of citadel-like, castle-like structure, a metal castle in the background, and this guides the player through the level.
Wait, what? Did somebody say citadel?
I knew you would pick up on that.
What a backdoor.
Get through this next.
No, but it's so nice because while you're exploring this, you always get these kind of views that foreshadow where you might be going next and what you might want to explore, and such a nice way of guiding the player through this kind of environmental design.
And to add to that, I mean, this is something I keep harping on about in every single episode, but there's such a great sense of place here. And if I have one favorite thing, I'd say it's creations that manage to pull off a real sense of place. Like all of this really feels like an interconnected world, and not just like a collection of video games.
Yeah, I try to do that in my head. I try to make it feel like it all belongs in the same world, and that could actually exist somehow.
Kenyon, I said this yesterday as well. I can't wrap my hand around the fact that you are keep meleeing these guys.
Because it feels so nice.
That's the fastest way to kill them.
Yeah. See, the creator himself says that this is the right way to do it. The most efficient way to do it.
You know what though?
Shield slam. Get the health orb, shield slam. Get the health orb, shield slam.
Well, I'm a scaredy cat, so my approach would always have been to just take little shots at them from the distance.
You can also do that. And I made this specific area very difficult for you to shoot them because it's below. One of my favorite things is to jump and slam from a distance. So instead of jumping and then melee,
let's try that.
Slam at the
so you mean
time.
you do?
So you gotta
let's give it a try. I want to do that. Can I pull it off? Oh, wrong button. Let's see. Not quite. Yeah, but it's really cool that there's so much to master and there are so many levels to actually playing the game. So, all fun aside, I think it's so nice that you leave the option to the player. You can cheese it, like Shreppy does. You can just try to go from the distance.
Excuse me?
And just use your gun to kill the enemies. But you can also do it like a real hardcore player and do the melee style, right?
Yeah, and avoid them. You don't have to kill that one.
No, avoiding isn't an option. Oh no.
Of course, if you want to do it like a true hardcore player and keep dying 4 million times, then
okay, I give that for you.
The game completely allows for that.
Important that you must put your shield up when you need to put your shield up. Mm-hmm. Actually, I made it so that the Illidolfs can't kill you if you have your shield on, but of course they slam you all over the world and you die.
So you don't die immediately, but just a few seconds later.
No, you just die later. So originally this level had lots of Illidolfs in the next section. But I decided to remove those and add a completely new mechanic, which is the spinner throw. After my one friend said to me, "That'll be so cool, you have to add that." And I said, "Well, I was planning to add it in the next game." So I said, "No, you have to put it in the spinner."
So we just got the spinner upgrade.
But that I just wanted to say that seems so uncharacteristically generous of you to remove a hard section, but
I thought you might have had enough of them, so then I removed.
But at the same time, I think
time for retribution.
Yeah, this is something we have to point out. So we once upon a time we were on your stream. And we were like, out of the blue, just joking about these eel dolphins being so annoying and just getting killed all the time by them, and how it would be so nice to have kind of a mechanic to get back at them, right? And it was so nice to see you react on stream. You stopped whatever you were doing and just started thinking about ways how you might fulfill our wish. And I think this also kind of speaks to your way of developing, to really be so open for suggestions that weren't even meant quite earnestly, but run with it, and really love that. So,
and I think it has to be pointed out that Thyon was actually kind of weirded out at the amount of hatred we had developed for those Illidolfs, and still he was still kind enough to develop in a way for us to destroy them. So
And it feels
Well
so great
played,
now
sir.
that I can
Well
use
played
this
indeed.
spinner to kill them and really say, you killed me dozens of times, now it's my turn.
I think just on that stream, we might have come up with 4 dozen ways of killing those Elidolfs between the two of us. So that should clue you into the fact how much we hate those things.
So I also initially I didn't have any knowledge of enemy design, right? Because I'd only done like level 2 as an enemy, with the Wasp and the Scarab. That was the only 2 enemies I ever designed, and they were kind of like lame compared to. They were okay, but now I really made it so that if you approach an enemy now, just going through the levels, you would have 1, 2, or 3 ways to kill them with different ways, different weapons. You can use the blaster, you can use melee, you could use a different kind of gun, you could use something else.
Or you know what? If you were a true hardcore player, you could just keep throwing yourselves at them and hoping for the best. Just saying, just putting that out there.
You could do that, yeah.
Self-flagellating. So I also added when I added the kinetic shield, because I didn't have a kinetic shield, and then when I added it, you can now use the kinetic shield for the spores, and things like that. Eventually, like on the balancing sections that are coming up in the next section, you couldn't activate your shield. And then I changed, now you can activate your shield. So if the spore clouds come, you can just activate your shield. So it's very important.
I'm just lost a little bit. I remember there was a crystal that I have to shoot somewhere. You can just quickly help me out so we don't get...
I think you actually have to go back towards that middle part near the sea.
Yeah,
this was just one of the islands I can explore, right?
To the middle
Ah,
part.
okay.
Yeah.
Some of this level was changed, so if you played it previously, I have made some changes.
I took the fast route back by just dying and using the respawn point.
like an actual hardcore gamer would.
No, just run towards these tiny little blocks that are moving.
That, you know what? Looking at them again now, they also these Elidolfs, they are kind of gross, aren't they?
They're very gross. Yeah. And
Like you can really believe that you could really believe that this would be the kind of creature you encounter on some kind of alien world.
And there's like these 2 things coming out of their front of their head. That's actually the thing that shocks you. It's like kind of antenna that electrifies the water. So the things up above.
Just... Ah, yeah.
Oh, there.
Ah, there they are! The Eildolfs.
Oh, by the way, since we just got that as a quote, that was not optimal is about the most passive aggressive game over quote that I've ever seen.
What about the one where he goes like, I have done a complete analysis and I have that the suit might actually be suitable for someone else.
No, I think I prefer that was not optimal because it's so like there's such an it's very brief and there's also such a sense of he's really done with her at that point.
No, my best one is just laugh.
You know,
it's even shorter.
You know what? You know you should actually have added. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
So how many of these quotes are there? I think there are quite many, right?
Yeah, there's lots of them.
So seven ways of saying the player that they suck.
That's a great suggestion by C Entertain in the chat as well. Basically saying it had to go down like that.
Binary star system.
And it doesn't say the sentence every time, it says it every second. So you don't get to say the audio over and over and over and over.
But again, I think it's a really nice way of really, as a player, you feel like, okay, I'll show you that I can do it. and
Yes.
This was a fun little discovery yesterday, because the version of the level I played way earlier in the development cycle was this. All of this didn't exist, right? You didn't have the boomerang weapon yet.
No.
And so seeing this yesterday, this was really cool.
And also there was just Illidos over here. It's really annoying. This is not annoying. This is cool.
And I think you mentioned earlier when we talked about this in preparation sometime that this kind of navigating these different small ice pieces here is like a ballet, right? So you just when you do it right, maybe not just like me, but if you do it right, it's like it has a certain rhythm to it. Even it's really a nice, rewarding feeling, because you feel so great when you just pull it off in this kind of rhythmic manner. If you have the skill to do so.
Exactly. You also realize one of the secrets of platforming in Dreams is that you can run off an object first and then press the jump.
Yeah.
You do not have to press the jump key at the end of the object. You could actually run off the object first. That extends the jump.
And again, gameplay-wise, I think it's so nice to change things up here and introduce different uses for this boomerang tool that you get. So not only use it for combat and for basically paving your way by destroying some of these crystals, but also by using it to activate these containers here, or the place where they are, to change it. It's a really cool idea, and nice way of making different uses of the mechanics you introduced.
I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I remember a time when there were all these kind of really polished, high concept, one level sketches, creations in Dreams, right? Like several demos that would mostly just one level long, and they would always develop one mechanic and make one thing work really well, and then the creators never followed up on them. Now this year is just 10 of those high concept levels stacked on top of each other, and it all adds up to an actual finished game, which I think is brilliant. Like this is something, as I've said before, this is something I keep looking for in Dreams. Like, it's great to have that one perfect moment, but it's also really cool to see people leveraging the toolkit to actually create these fully fledged creations like this.
Yeah, a lot of those levels have checkerboards as the floor.
Yeah. That's even.
Are you kidding me?
The way that's even. I mean, some of them actually did go through with designing an actual level and building actual environments. But yeah, some of them obviously were just meant as testing grounds for mechanics. I just love the way that this doesn't just cut out halfway through the game where it gets interesting, but this is an actual game to sink your teeth into and play
with an ending.
With an ending, right.
I love how he gets distracted by the container and comes back.
Yeah, I mean, when I fell down earlier, it was like I was noticing that I missed one of these containers, as you said, and I was like, oh, I could have gotten these bits there, and then this was my doom. So 1 second without concentration, and you fail. But again, it's up to the player, right? So it's your fault to get distracted. You should concentrate on the game.
I can play some of the sections without ever losing much health at all, because it's just shield management and doing the right thing in the right situation, so that you learn over time in the game. So there is some replay value as well. It becomes more satisfying as you become more skilled.
But I mean, in all fairness, like, I think every one of us, we can all play our own games for play through our own games in something like 4 minutes or something like that.
And also what's really nice is if you do replay a level, you keep your armor. So if you earned armor in a later level, you go back to the first level, you've got all that stuff. The Ice Islands become a completely different level. You have all your armor and your upgrades and your boots and your armor.
Never was I so happy to find a checkpoint.
This is another change I made on stream. Someone suggested we move the checkpoints to the...
Please give my best regards to that someone and thank him or her for me.
I thought of putting the checkpoints when you change mechanic or you change the environmental condition or something, then it becomes important to put the checkpoints. So you feel that thing's behind me and this thing is in front of me. And I removed the camera here, as you noticed, and I rebuilt it.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have the full camera.
That's great. That's great because this was the one area where that nicely cinematic camera actually got in the way of the game.
Got in the way, exactly.
Yeah.
It was also in another place, and I also rebuilt that, and I also moved that in the ice cabin.
And I mean, something we can also see in these ice levels is you're really putting those surface textures through their paces, right? Like there's a lot. You're getting a lot of mileage out of the shininess or the waxiness sliders here. And I mean, in combination with the lighting engine, this really creates these neat little reflections that add more texture to the level. I really love that.
I always use there's that mode in Dreams where you it's like it turns the lighting off and you just get this flat lighting. It looks absolutely crap with that. It just shows you how good the lighting engine is.
Okay.
Just looks like you're in the 80s trying to make good 3D.
And look, remember for those watching this, remember we saw that dome off in the distance at close to the very beginning of the level, and now Kami, if you just turn the camera around for a second there, now we've already gone closer to it, and there again is that citadel in the distance working as this kind of far off landmark. So really. This really offers a good way to reorient yourself and to get an idea of how you're actually progressing through the level. Because the level itself is fairly complex.
It's complex and it's also... Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say it's complex, but also it plays with this kind of similarity of elements. At first, you can get really confused by the fact that some parts really look really almost the same. But once you realize that there is some guidance there if you just look close enough, and the sameness, so to speak, is part of the design to maybe even distract the player and really keep them on their toes, I think that's when it really reaches that point where you really understand, okay, that's what the idea behind it was. And I also like that a lot.
Also, guys, just 1 second. C Entertain just said in chat, the shocking part is when someone is better at your own game and you is better at your own game than you. And I didn't want to say anything, but now Vectorslinger jumped in himself and said that we've actually managed to beat him at his best high scores in God's Lie as well. I'm not feeling sorry for that, Vectorslinger. We've both spent so many hours in those levels. I think we deserve those high scores.
It's basically your fault for developing such a nice game, right? So that people want to replay it over and over again.
You could have made it janky and uninteresting, and then you could have.
And no one would have beaten your high scores. But the same is true here, right? So we talked about this earlier. You said, Thyon, that you basically keep your skills. So if there are scoreboards, I don't know if you integrate them in the full game for the completion time of the levels, this also would make it really interesting to return and get the best time out of every level using every skill at your disposal.
So of course, you're going to have an X level of time, and then when you go back to the Ice Islands with all your floating and hover and dash abilities, and with your new, you can kill all the enemies much faster. You can zoot and speed everywhere all over the level with your hover abilities and stuff, so you're obviously going to get a much better time. So that's the whole idea. So that's why people can beat you, because they've got the upgrades back.
Laser.
So now let's play the game like Shreppy would. It will become a running gag between the two of us.
I mean, I'm not even replying. Like, shoot yourself.
You can make a comment when I die the next time, right?
Shoot yourself.
Try to smash him and see how that goes.
Yeah, you try to do your melee move on this one. I want to see it.
Right.
So I wanted to have. I wanted you to be able to practice your shooting, and this is the first enemy where you kind of like start doing
I need the other shield, right? So this one should
What
help
about
me.
the shield? Yeah, hello.
Let's just give it a try.
So, there's a laser.
I mean, as we can clearly see, shooting is just too trivial for a true hardcore game.
Let's see. I already say that I really enjoyed it with the stream with the two of you. It's so much fun.
There's a fun trophy here.
Actually, this is what's interesting about this. I think when I first played this, I was totally stressed out by those drones, and first I had to avoid getting shot by them while also getting rid of them. But when I had managed to do so, that it was only then that I realized, wait a minute, the environment is actually kind of gorgeous here with these temple ruins surrounding you.
Maybe I should have used the phaser here a little more often earlier on to practice my aiming skills, right? Alright.
So basically, just walk up to him with the shield at the right moment. You activate the shield as soon as they start shooting, and then you shoot them. But you must be aiming while you do that, otherwise you won't be shooting.
Now my shield is...
That doesn't work, they move too fast. Yeah, you gotta lock them in.
I can do it.
The shield gets drained, you move away. There's a trophy for doing them in under 30 seconds.
Okay, let's
to all of our spectators, we are sorry to inform you that all following programs will be delayed by about 45 minutes. Such is the price of being hardcore, I guess. But, well, in all fairness, let me be completely honest here. It's easy for me to say that sitting here in my little fortress of solitude while Kenyon is doing all the actual playing. So let's not forget that as well.
I'm a good sport in that regard, so no worries.
Well, with those skills, you had better be a good sport.
I think I was doing quite fine, but now these enemies are really breaking my neck here. But the good thing is, and thanks for that, Thyon, they don't respawn, right? So once you killed them, they are gone. So if you really have some difficulty and your skill level isn't high enough to do it in 30 seconds and to gain the trophy, still sometime you will be able to grind them down. Like I just did, I think.
Yeah, I can do it in 20 seconds, but I made the trophy 30 seconds.
Come on, now you're showing off.
Yeah. But it's actually quite easy if you know what's happening. It's just you walk up to them with your aim on, and then as soon as they turn towards you, you activate your shield and start shooting at them. But you've got to be aiming at them already.
So you mean it kind of helps when you develop the game and know how the mechanics inherently work? That makes sense.
Let me just for a second. Let me just put.
But you can puzzle it out.
Let me just point out again how nice this is. Like this actually hints at an older culture underneath the industrial parts that we've already seen. I really love that. Oh, Kenyon, by the way, remember yesterday there is an upgrade that you can find before you actually tackle those quests. It's down there. It's I think it's down in the.
It's at the bottom between the ice
temple.
between the ice shards. It's on the outer perimeter.
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
Thanks for reminding me before I fail miserably again at the next puzzle. But again, we are joking around and having fun. I can only underline that it makes so much fun playing this. And as I said earlier, I gladly repeat this, even dying to a certain extent is fun because you feel like... I want to try this again. I want to get better at this. I want to use all the skills to their best usage and then really finish this level. And it's such a great feeling when you finally do it. And I think that's about the biggest compliment you can make to game design. And that someone in Dreams pulled this off to such a great extent is really mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, agreed.
Ah, there it is.
And you'll be seeing why this is so crucial in a minute, because one of the upcoming challenges is it can be completed without this upgrade, but it's way harder than it needs to be.
It can be. So I made it sure that you can without the upgrade, obviously.
So now we have this
discover the upgrade and go, oh no, I should have had the upgrade.
What's really awesome is that we now have this almost Zelda-esque dungeon in a way, but it all basically takes place in one room.
And this one?
It takes place in one room, and it is like every one of this, or every of these little puzzles has kind of a different take on using these pillars here in the middle, right? And that must have been such a bother to program. I don't know. I mean, can you give us some insights into how you did this?
So, I knew that I wanted to have the upper area and the puzzle below. That I knew from the beginning. And then I spent for about a week to try to figure out how to do the stairwell, the spiral stairwell. That took me a week to figure out so that it can have a good enough slope and it goes down far enough. So that took me about a week to do the stupid spiral staircase. But I actually made the spiral staircases an element as well as the puzzle, a separate element so I could check independently of the level. And then the concept was to do the elements like sound, light, and then I kind of ran out of elements, so I thought matter was quite good. So.
And see this last challenge.
And then I.
Sorry, go on.
No, and then I just had to come up with a puzzle that kind of tackles that element. So. Light was easy because it's, just some light. Sound was easy because I've done a sound puzzle before. The harder ones was the DNA one. The DNA one was quite hard to do. It looks simple enough, but it was very difficult to do the followers and the tags and moving it into positions and stuff like that. So. And you're actually building a real molecule, by the way. It's glutamine.
No, I didn't want to take that.
I'm going to finish this with glutamine.
There we go.
Wait, you're meaning to say you didn't just make this with 5 keyframes and...
No.
There's another way to do stuff like this?
Backwards and forwards and checking. First it checks if it's correct. If it's not correct, it comes back.
Everyone can program it like that.
And I think the time one was also difficult to figure out where I want to put things. The space one was so complicated to keyframe because every piece had to be keyframed at different heights and to make it a maze, and it's for 5 different mazes. Every time you press on another button, it's a different maze that has to appear. So
but it's so cool that this all works in the same very confined space using the same assets. That's so cool.
And it's still all done in one scene. So everything we've seen so far is
level.
Yeah.
One scene, yeah. Crazy, actually, if you think about it.
And you did this before the thermo got a little bigger, or we got a little more space.
All of this was done way before the thermo. I just added a few more bits in the orbs and the things. This level was technically the least touched after the thermo upgrade.
So now I did 3
There's
of
one in the middle.
5.
And everything is 5. So there's 5 puzzles in the light, there's 5 puzzles in the thing, and the things are 5-sided. To create this board took a while as well. Because this 5-sided board I had to design how many pieces were there going to be, would there be enough pieces for the puzzles, to make an interesting puzzle. It's the light one.
Did you make it so it doesn't reset, or do I remember that incorrectly, that it used to reset the entire path?
It just resets the previous path.
Mm-hmm.
It gets it wrong.
And you know, I tire easily of puzzles in games if they are not well done. I'm
What's
easily bored
written here?
with puzzles, but I love the fact that this is, in spite of it being so sophisticated, it is in fact quite doable.
Yes, it's very doable. The sound one might be a little bit hard, but I added some visual clues if you're right or wrong. So even if you can't hear, if you have no hearing ability, you could actually just look at the visuals to see if it's right or wrong. And then a dot appears on the original starting point. And I don't know how to fix this, but people keep going back to listen to the song. You don't have to do that, but I mean, obviously you want to, because you want to hear what it is.
As someone with a far less complex brain than obviously than yourself, let me tell you, yes, you need to do that.
Yeah, and the difficulty right now is that I really turned down the volume on my television, so I'm actually barely hearing anything and trying to somehow make it happen.
So try to remember the positions of the order. So that one, then the one closest to the thing, next, yeah.
This one, no, not the middle one.
Not the middle. This is the one that's next. Yeah, that's the one that's next. And then there's 2 more.
This one I didn't have, I think. And the middle.
Not that one.
No, it was the failed state.
So
I just saw it. Yeah.
So think about the other puzzles. The middle is the last one in every puzzle. So it's not the middle one, it's the next one. So it resets if you make a mistake. So you have to start again the puzzle. You don't have to press this button to start again. It just automatically resets. So you can, if you make a mistake, just go back to this one and this one in the corner here. So this one in front of you is the starting one, yeah, and then one in the corner.
So I might need some help because I really can hardly hear the sound here. So it's a case where you might need to...
So it's a bit delayed.
Next to the starting one is the next one, I think.
I'll give you the sequence. It's the one in front of the blue.
No, that's wrong.
The one in front of the blue. Then the one in front of the orange, yellow sort of one.
But it reset, right?
Yeah, it has reset. So you just have to go back to the first one again.
No.
So
this one is the one I have to go to, right?
Yellow, green. Yellow and then green.
So blue. Then the one next to the starting panel.
Blue. Then the one closest to the yellow. Then the closest to the green. But don't press the beginning one in the middle of your sequence, because that resets it as well.
Okay, the one closest to the green, then what?
And then the one in the opposite of the green, and then the middle one.
The opposite of the green.
So directly opposite the green one, next to the middle one, and then the middle one.
So the middle one is this, then this is the opposite one. So the one that's far to the other side.
Beginning tile. The one in the middle is closest to the beginning tile, and then the middle one. You can see
we did it again with a little help. But as I said, if you really turn up the volume and listen for it, I think you can figure it out by just trying. And even if you cannot hear it, as you said, you can do it by trial and error by just remembering the correct sequence, right? So
what I think I might do is just to make it a little bit more easier, is just to add something on top of the tile when you've correctly identified it. Keep that thing highlighted so you can see it better, that's the one I've already done. But because I wanted it to be a sound puzzle and not a visual puzzle, I didn't want to do that initially, but I think I might have.
But I love the fact that we have actually now played through like a condensed version of an entire Zelda dungeon within this level, and it's just one thing you do in this level.
Let's get it moving, Aki.
And there's some collectibles and stuff that you can only get with the hover upgrade, so in the level that you're missing a bit now, which is obviously correct, but there are some things you can still collect which you can only do once you've got the hover upgrade.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can quickly check how many of the eco-sabits I found, and it's not even half of them. And I spent 38 minutes in this level, so there is so much more replayability here. And as I said earlier, it actually makes a lot of fun to hunt for them and really try to look for all the different hiding spots and discover a part of the level that you may not have seen before. And that's something Yeah. Go ahead.
No, like killing the enemies, making sure you get all the cursor bits, finding the hidden orb because you haven't found the hidden orb yet, so things like that. So that's all things you can still do even after you finish the game. And then there's another thing I've got which is a hidden thing which isn't known. So there's another thing.
Alright, so once the game is out in the next few days, as you said...
Go to the exit and see your score.
You have lots of stuff
like this section over here, you can only get if you've got the hover ability. We'll practice.
So, complete level. I get the overview over my stats. And I can go next chapter, which then... in that case, leads me out of the scene because I didn't start it from the dream.
Yeah. But the important thing to note here is, I mean, look, guys, we just showed off this massive chunk of the game, and there's still a lot more where that came from. Like, this seems like we've shown off so much of the game so far, but there's at least the same amount of levels, if not more, still to check out. I think even if you've watched this stream in its entirety, you will still have a lot of content to look forward to in the finished game.
I'm just showing the level chapter select screen, and we can see that we touched the surface, and there is so much more to explore. And the trophies. I mean, the fact that you went to the distance to integrate a trophy system here, as you explained earlier, it's definitely something that's totally up my alley. And I see myself spending many hours trying to get every single one of them. And I don't know if this will be good for my mental health, but I'll definitely do it.
So there's also like levels of trophies. There's the chapters everybody will get when they just play the game, right? And then there's the cursor bits. People will hunt a little bit, then they'll get those. And then eventually people want to kill all the enemies, then they'll get those. And then they'll go and hunt for the hidden orbs. And then there's the fun trophies. Each one lines up with the level. So the first one in the fun is the first level. The second one in the fun is the second level. So each one has a hidden little clue about where to get it or how to get it. And then you can read that and see if you can figure out what's going to happen there. And then there's the armor stuff, which you'll get in the game, so those aren't really like hunting trophies. And then there's the hidden stuff, which I won't talk about right now.
And I mean, the obvious thing to take away from this is that there's a lot to look forward to, and what a wonderful surprise that the game is now obviously only days away from release. And even if you still have to wait for a couple of days, you can already tide yourselves over that period, playing the already very good demo we showed off earlier.
It's like a practice for the real game.
Yes. Try to hone your skills, your hardcore gamer skills for the full game. Hopefully, this will be doing crazy numbers once it comes out. But it's always a bit hit and miss with Dreams these days. So if nothing else, I hope we have done our small bit of highlighting what an amazing creation this is.
And we can only stress. We can only stress that we are so thankful that you gave us the opportunity to play this a little early and be with us on stream and give us so many great insights into your process of creating the game and some of the hidden stuff that we might not have noticed without your guidance here, and just being a really, really nice person that is so much fun to talk to and so much fun to actually explore this game together with. So thanks so much for everything you did in this game and on stream here, and yeah, we are looking very much forward to playing the full game when it's out.
And Thyon, I think I speak for both of us when I say there could be no nicer guy to figure out audio problems with. So there's that too.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting me onto the stream. It was great to have you guys discuss it, play it, give your insights to me, about the game and things that I put in. And it's like another nice little sort of angle for me to look at it from the player perspective and from an outsider perspective. So I've been sunk in this thing for so long, I'm kind of losing focus. Literally. Vision blurring and stuff. So yeah, it's great. I like your shows. I've been watching it, so it's a great opportunity to be on the stream with you guys as well. So, thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, you're very, very welcome, and we've had a blast. It was great fun talking to you. It was great fun being able to get a sneak peek into this a few days early. And like I said before, for those of you watching this, please do keep a watch on Gemini Rising, and while you're waiting for the full release, give the demo a whirl. That being said, I've also linked some of Thyon's older creations in our collection. So if you want to see where all of this started, there's a handy little collection down there that Thyon made, and it has all his various games and collabs, and there's Dreams Fest, there's Fragments, which is a very cool little walking simulator type game. There are the possession games, which are already which are even more fun if you kind of see them as I don't know, as the beginnings, the foundations for what would later turn into Gemini Rising. So yeah, definitely give those creations a try as well.
And maybe there'll also be an opportunity to catch you on stream during the next few days. Will you stream some of the work you do in the final stages of finishing the game?
Well, this last part I won't, because it's a hidden thing. So I think it's just going to be like recording some gameplay for the trailer and then making the trailer quickly, and then I'll launch the trailer and launch the game.
Awesome. I'm really thrilled for this because the version I play tested was a much earlier build, so I'm quite looking forward to the fact that I'll have a massive amount of stuff to discover.
Yes.
And we'll try to compete again for the best time of finishing the levels, and in the end, Dennis95 will basically beat our time.
Did you just make a new score? Because I'll just reset the scoreboard quickly.
And as for Dennis95, who is obviously a very, very talented gamer, but not to brag, but he has yet to annihilate any of our records on God's Lie. Just putting that out there.
All right.
So, Thyon, thank you so much for being here tonight. This has been a ton of fun. Thanks for having developed this amazing game, and we are very much looking forward to it. And to everyone still in chat, thank you so much for giving us the time today, for bearing with us, doing our figuring out of the audio problems. This has been great fun. Thanks for your suggestions and for your questions. And yeah, we'll be back in touch. We'll try to have the VOD up on YouTube as soon as possible, but it will already be here on Twitch. So if anyone has happened to missed anything, feel free to check out the VODs. And we'll be pestering you, as always. We'll be pestering you on social media, on Twitter when the next episode is coming up. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for stepping into our little bathysphere with us. And with that, I think thanks. I just wanted to ask you to make that little sound again. And with that, I think it's time to go to the surface again. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, good night, good evening, good day. Talk to you soon when we next go diving together.
Thanks, Thyon. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice day, evening, wherever you are.
Bye.
Bye.